Yo, 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 what's up? We
What's
in the
up, everybody?
building. Thank you for tuning in. It's Juicy Talk, y'all. It's juicy. So it's gonna be a great show today. We having our special guest is having some technical difficulties that she's working on right now that we're trying to, she's trying to get sorted out. But in the meantime and in between time, we want to thank you for joining us today. We excited that you're here and let's go. Let's get ready. Welcome to Juicy Talk with your host, Juicy. Live Thursdays, 8 p.m. Crucial conversations, special guests, love, relationships, and healing together. It's going to be juicy, y'all. Let's go. All right, y'all. So tonight we talking about the power of
P.
the power of the what?
Pussy.
What's up,
Woo.
y'all?
What's up, everybody?
Thank you for tuning in to Juicy Talk. So we talking about today the power of the pussy, right? The question is, do the pussy or the pee, does it have power over men? If you think it got power over men, if you think men are controlled by the pee, if you feel like there's maybe not control, but we just got power in the pee, put a thumbs up, a one, a Y in the comments so I know. We're waiting on our special guest speaker. She's having some technical difficulties. We don't know what's going on. But just in case, we just want to talk about the power of the pee. So, what do you think? Do you think you controlled by the pee?
I am not. I am not controlled by that.
Controlled by what?
The pussy. I'm gonna tell you why. Let me just say this though, real quick. Most men are not controlled by that. Most men, all they are looking for is respect from the individual, a woman that's nurturing. I'm sorry.
Okay.
A woman who doesn't nag him all the time, because that's all we want. We're very simple. So it's not always about the pussy. It's about communication with the individual. It's all about what we can build on. So men can get pussy all day. Women are giving pussy away. You know, you can go to your job, you can have fair at your job, you can go to anywhere and get pussy. So it's not the end all thing for men.
So
I've talked to many men about that, and it's like, no, we ain't controlled by that.
So I think that when I think of power in the pussy, so when I think about power of the pussy, right? I think about the everything, the essence of a woman, the fact that she carries a child in her womb, the fact that she commands this, the femininity. I think of a woman who walks in her femininity and her power, who she is as a woman, and the fact that men are intrigued and engaged and they're pulled in by a woman. And when a woman gives herself to a man, he is, that's something. We do something. We do something.
I'm gonna
with
say
that.
pussy overrated. I'm gonna say pussy's overrated. It's overrated.
It's overrated.
It's overrated.
Maybe the pussy you choose.
No. I didn't have some good pussy. Ooh, can I say that? Can I say that?
It is.
I'm just saying.
Wars have been fought over.
It's overrated.
Over the pee.
It's overrated.
Maybe the pussy you picking is overrated.
No,
but it just depends. So, but when I think of it, I don't just think about sex. I think about the whole essence of a woman. Correct. And what she brings to the table. Because when you really think about it, we are nurturing. We can be loving. You can edify and esteem a man, feed his ego, and he be out here like, yo, I'm ready to break bricks. I'm about to do whatever I got to do. So women it is a certain amount of power just in being a woman.
In that sense, but we're talking about pussy.
I mean, the womb, the pussy, but we got a special guest, and I hope that her sound is working. But I want to introduce our special guest. She's in the building. So, why don't you tell us real quick how you know our special guest? She's somebody that you know. Correct. That you're friends with.
Right. She's I met April a long time. I met her at like a Super Bowl party.
Okay.
And just talked about different things, and a mutual friend, and just found out she has some very good qualities about as far as her background, which we're about to get into, correct?
Yes, we are. So, one of the things that I want to say, April, I'm going to bereave her. April D. Moore is her name, and she is a licensed practical clinical counselor, and she's also a national certified counselor,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And she is the owner of the Masterpiece Counseling and Consulting, LLC, and she's a board certified licensed psychotherapist. She promotes health and wellness with a make it make sense approach. She assists clients in their healing and change process with the whole person in mind. And her whole style is entertaining, is compassionate, and supportive. And you know what? I can't wait. I just can't wait to see what she bring it to the table. So we gonna bring it up, give a warm welcome, say hello in the chat to April, Miss Moore. Welcome.
Hello, hello. How are
Hello.
you?
Hello. Yes, we're so excited to have you in the building. And so we was just sharing a little bit of what we think about.
I don't know how much you heard, but
I heard it. And she got you. She got you, Julius.
oh,
I got her. That's
oh,
right.
You know why, right?
That's right.
Because I'm walking in my femininity and my
That's
power.
right.
I
That's
see my
right.
big afro.
whatever.
Okay. So thank you for the introduction. And I am so excited to join you guys at this moment. I've blasted this as much as I could across my social media. And I have to tell you, my Facebook friends, everybody went mute when I said the word pussy online, as if we're not grown and sexy.
Right.
And so let's get a little bit into that, because the idea is that it's not just about the anatomy of a woman. It is about her energy, her feminine energy. And
Yeah.
so, first of all, we got to say this: your pussy has to work. And so, in order for us to be able to determine how much power it is, it has to work. And what that takes is you taking care of it. And so, what you want to make sure of amongst anything and everything is that you are taking care of yourself, and you are going to the doctor, making sure that you're having your evaluations and making sure things are in order health wise. And so that we want to be very clear about that. The other thing that we want to be clear about, we are very sensitive to those who have had sexual traumatic experiences. We do not want to dismiss or disregard those who have had sexual violations against them when it comes to their private area. And so please, we'll make sure that we have that in mind. In the meantime, this is more of a fun discussion about women's power and helping women to regain their power by actually taking a look at, how do you think about your pussy? And so I like what Michelle and Julius were talking about earlier, and how they were, very fun, very in a very fun way, referring to the idea of femininity. This book, The Power of the Pussy, is written by actually a white woman. And I started reading this book about 10 years ago. And when I was in my prime and looking to have power over myself and how I project myself as a woman. And so over the years, I thought that it would be a great talking point, and talking to women about their femininity and sexuality, relationship and dating in the Black community, in our Black culture, because Black love is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. We love Black love.
I love Black love. I wouldn't have it no other way. I'm not dating like women.
We are so glad to hear that, Julius.
I'm just saying. I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry.
And you know what? I think that's important. That's important for us to know. Right now, there's this big thing about Amanda Seales and Club Shay Shay, and how that discussion went down. And I have to tell you, it was a little disturbing to me, because there was so many residual factors that talked about how we engage with one another when it comes to discussions. And so, I'm glad they didn't get into anything but an intellectual conversation about life, because I don't know if I could deal with the conversation about pussy, sex, or relationships between those two. I don't know how that would have went down. So moving forward, this is a conversation really about Black love and how it impacts individuals, the family, the culture, and
Yes,
our
absolutely.
communities, and the health of that. And so I was excited when Michelle was like, bring it. I want to bring it to my YouTube station and to my followers and have this real live, rich discussion about the power of the pussy.
So when I think about the power of the pussy, right? I don't actually think about the man, right? I think about you as a woman owning your own body, knowing what makes you happy, knowing what pleasures you, and then not asking for permission, to be satisfied, but taking to the initiative when it comes to being satisfied, and amongst my time talking to different women and different friends and just coming in us, in our women's circles, we've talked about how a lot of times as women, we don't share with our sexual partner, even if you're satisfied, and how so many times women will fake orgasms or not really let a man know that if they're pleasured or not, or just don't even really know their own body enough to be able to communicate and share with another individual what it is that they need, sexually. So my question is, when you think about the power of the P, is it, or the pussy, is it really about the empowerment of that woman, her taking empowerment over herself?
I believe so. That was my take on it. And that's the approach that I wanted to use in promoting this discussion, is that it really is about the woman having a power over herself and a relationship with her pussy, rather than just using it and within the relationship between her and her man or woman or whatever the case may be, her partner. But more or less, what is her relationship with it? And what has she seen? What has she heard? Personally, my relationship with my pussy came long before I was even sexually active. I was raised by a high class call girl, and she was my aunt. And my aunt would tell me, "You take care of your pussy will take care of you." And that was the foundation and the start of it all in terms of my relationship with my pussy. I gave up my virginity at 22 years old because I didn't see anyone or hear anyone having a great outcome of how they used that part of their body and relationships and having those encounters. And so sitting back and watching this, I'm like, you know what? I got time. And so I took the time to really get to know my body and understand the impact of having this special commodity, this very unique anatomy that is only given to women who are born as females. Those who adopt this over time and through other courses, I'm not quite sure what their relationship is with it, but we have a very unique opportunity. Even now at this age and stage, gray hair age, this is a special commodity that I still take care of, and I do not take it for granted. And so we have an opportunity to rewrite the narrative of how we see ourselves and our bodies, and how that will play out in relationships with Black men specifically, and moving forward, and what we pass down through the generations. We have a chance to rewrite the narrative. We have a chance to stop some generational dysfunctions when it comes to our young women and how they see themselves.
And
Very,
how,
very good. That's a very good statement. I like that. I like that a lot.
yeah,
And
how
what do
does,
you like about it? I'm sorry. What do
go
you
ahead.
like about it in terms of being a Black man?
Because what you're saying to me is there, like you had mentioned, like how women it's kind of changed the narrative where, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna be honest, it's like they're giving it away without you don't even have to work for the pussy no more. They're giving it away like now and later's. It's ridiculous. Either you got they're selling it or just buying time, but eventually that's what they want to do. So
How does it look for how in changing the narrative, how would that show up? How would that look in our community? Or what would it look like?
I think it starts with a conversation. And actually, as women, senior women, modeling something different for the younger women. I don't think we have real conversation, authentic dialogue about sex. I have a daughter and I have a conversation with her. I'm not afraid to have that conversation with her. So I think it starts with a discussion, like right now in your forum. Thank you very much, Michelle, to be open, to be able to broadcast this and not be afraid of what that may look like and sound like within our communities, but being able to have these conversations openly and sharing our stories with one another. So the one thing that I probably about in my 40s, I turned around and I looked at life and I was like, them old bras that went before us, they didn't tell us the whole truth and nothing but the truth about what it means to be a woman. We get to change that whole trajectory of life by being able to have open conversations about this. Like I said, when I posted it on my Facebook, it went crickets. No one responded except for my sister, who loves me to death. But it's not an open conversation to have. And it is really not about the anatomy. It's about what does it reflect and what is it that it represents? What does it symbolizes? It symbolizes the unique ability to please a man, a unique opportunity to please a man. And
But
so
to also please yourself.
and please yourself.
sometimes
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the absence of a man. Absolutely. And enjoy it. I don't know, Michelle. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation, right?
Yeah. So like one of the things, like I think that it starts really, really young because I know like my mom shared this story with me about, and I don't think she would have a problem with me sharing it, but I know that when she was younger, when she started her cycle, she thought she was dying, because no one had told her that she was going to start one, so she started um giving all her stuff away because she eventually just thought she was going to bleed to death.
Wow.
And when she actually had a conversation with her mom, and she was like, upset and crying, like, when I die, I want to wear, like, she started talking to her mom about it. And she was like, what you mean when you die? And so when she explained what was happening, that's when her mom finally told her, like, no, this is every woman goes through this. So I just think it's so many things that happens to a woman's body. And like my mom told me when she was growing up, like you didn't talk to your parents about sex. You didn't talk to them about, how you feel surrounding sex. And I feel like a lot of times in our culture, we have this ideology, like when men think of sex, they think about their own pleasure. When women think about sex, it's like I'm pleasing this man, like I'm giving myself to him. But what about your pleasure? That matters. So that's what I think about.
Okay. I'll say this, for instance, I don't get pleasure from just a sexual encounter. You have to mind fuck me. I'm that type of woman. You do.
Church,
And that is
church.
what I'm attracted to. And if you don't, that don't get turned on. And you certainly not going to get it. And so I think that it's important that men also join the discussion with us because, it helps us to understand what is expected from us, and I'm not quite sure we always do. What do you think, Julius?
I guess when I talk to other men, it's kind of like women really control if sex is going to happen. Women plays a very big role if I'm going to be able to lay down with this woman. So with that being said, women have the control. I can't have sex or be intimate with another woman unless she allows me to. So they hold that ball, I guess. I don't want
in their court,
right.
yeah.
We can't have it unless they allow us to, unless we are. And a lot of men,
I don't know. I think we've been convinced and taught and even modeled that we don't, and that's the problem. To hear a Black man say that a Black woman has the power, she controls whether or not she gives it to you or not. I'm not quite sure that that's the perception of many women. Why do we know? Because they complain about it, and they give it away. Like you said, they're giving it away to too many. And so it's like, I'm not sure that we have we understand the value of it. And that's what we are here to really echo, is that there's some value in having this anatomy, and that it is yours. You have the power of how you use it. Our modeling, I'm not quite sure, has been so well, because if we look at social media right now, we look at entertainers. I love my girl Megan, but Megan is Megan. And
it's all about money with that, though.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. But also, I mean, young women believe that that's how they get money.
So you have a question. I want to ask, how do you feel about women that weaponize pussy, and how does female rap help or hurt the young female? I heard you mention Megan.
Okay, that's good. That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a great question. Give me the first part of that again, Michelle.
It says, I want to ask, how do you feel about women that weaponize the pussy?
Okay. And so, feeling versus thinking. There's a feeling that there's too much of it, and that I'm not quite sure they always get what they expect from weaponizing it. I'm a little stunned by the question, because I think it's profound. I think it's a profound question for a man. And the weaponizing, the use of weaponizing is very operable, because we actually find ourselves doing so. But I think we give it more away than we hold back from it. And so it loses its value when we give it away so easily, versus holding it back and weaponizing it. Can you imagine what can happen if you hold back and not give a man what he wants, especially an undeserving man of what he wants? And so I think that definitely is food for thought. What was the second part of that? Oh, you want to ask me?
How does female rap help or hurt the young females?
So what I'm seeing in terms of rap, and I'm a rap head. I love rap music to this day. And when I think about the female rappers, they're more entrepreneurs than anything. And how they use the music, I don't see it as a seduction. And so that would be my thing. I don't see rap music from females as seductions. One of my most favorite all-time rappers is Trina. And even though she can be a little raunchy, she can be a little erotic, she can be all of that. And I do like Megan Thee Stallion as well. I see these as entrepreneurs. I don't see them as using their pussy as weapons and trying to get men.
Mhm.
I wish more of them would, because I would love to see more Black women marry who have the position and access of a lot of Black men. So with that notoriety, look for a husband. I'm sorry. That's that's my opinion. That's how I feel. Is that if you have that notoriety and you have that platform, you have access to as many men that's out there, Black men is out there. Let's get married. Let's have families. Let's strengthen the Black community with strong family connections. So that's how I feel.
So you said that. So when I think about female rap, I feel like what you see is like music back in the day, even rap music back in the day. It talked about. It was almost like a courtship. Like they wanted to be in love. They talk about loving a girl, and I just feel like the respect for women has lost its luster. Women, and it may be because we're not appreciating ourselves as much as we should. We have put value in things that are not related to sex. So now we see sex. A lot of women see sex as an action, just something that, it's a means to an end. I'm just getting mine and it's over, rather than seeing it as a connection or an experience of somebody's knowing you and you're knowing them, in a more intimate way. I think people look at it as more of like a release of stress and whatever. Almost looking at it in a masculine approach.
I think it's kind of like
I
think one of the things people get confused, men and women, is the part of making love and just having sex. I mean, I'd rather make love than have sex. I mean, those days of me having sex is over with. I'm looking for someone I can make love to, which can be long lasting. So, and then that's things we got away from that, the love making and, cuddling afterwards and just being like, hey, just the intimacy of it. Now it's just so about how many girls can I sleep with, or how many guys can I sleep with? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Derek Smith said, while most Black men make under 80 grand a year and they say pay this amount to get this sex, so it's definitely weaponizing, especially when you are not living up to what they portray. I just want to make a comment, because I do hear a lot of
You got to scratch your head on that one.
I know a lot of men talk about women weaponizing their vagina because they want to be paid to have sex, but I feel like a lot of men want to pay for sex, and the women have just adapted to what men want, because in order to actually have a sustainable relationship, you have to be emotionally available, and a lot of men have not done the work that is necessary to be emotionally available for women in the way that creates a bond of intimacy. And they just, and not even just that, they don't have the tools that it takes to be vulnerable enough to be emotional available, or just have that amount of self-awareness, or just don't have it but don't feel like putting in that work. And so a lot of times what you see is men say they don't want to pay for sex, but actuality, that's exactly what you want. You want transactional sex. It's like, let me sleep with you, I hang out with you for, and the payment don't have to be money. It could be time, attention, affection, but there's no true intimate vulnerability or connection or sacrifice that comes with having a wholesome type relationship. And so when a lot of men say that they don't want the vagina to be, or the pussy to be weaponized, in actuality, the adaptation that you see now, in my opinion, is the fact that women are saying, you know what, if you're gonna sleep with me and play with me emotionally anyway, then I might as well just pay me for my services. And that's what you're seeing in society, because it is almost like a response of power. Like, this is my way of taking a measure of power back,
Mm-hmm.
is because they're used to men being so emotionally unavailable and unaware.
But you got to find out why is that though, because we
Mm-hmm.
talked about
Mm-hmm.
this before. When men wants to be vulnerable, but at the same time, it's a sign of weakness for some men. Women sometimes see as a weakness. So men don't want to come across as weakness. Anytime we show some type of weakness, women feel like we got them. So now my whole attitude is going to change. So now that's why the men are so standoff to relinquish the power.
Mm.
So you
Why
know
are
what?
we overpowering each other? Why
I
are we
have no
trying
idea.
to have power against each other? What do you
This,
think?
You know what? First of all, Michelle, you spoke so eloquently
thank you.
about our position, um, and she did.
She did.
She
She did.
nailed it. The other point that I want to make, especially with Derek's comment about the money, you know, we can also consider that what they may equate to self-worth at this point, because we are in a monetized community. We are in a capitalistic world. And so that self-worth is putting a dollar value on it. I don't think we've done that in the past generations. We did, like I said, in prostitution, but now it's a business. And so women seeing their worth, like, and I agree with you, I think we got in line where we start to equate that to our self-worth. My aunt, the high class call woman, she said, save it as long as you can and you'll be rich. And so it can be about self-worth. You know, we've modeled something over the generations, throughout the generations, of what sex and especially our femininity is worth. And I have to tell you, as Black women, we have not always been held at the highest regard. And now that we are, is very much scrutinized. And so I'm a little on the edge of this, on the line about this, because I'm not too sure that this new era of women is onto something. Because if they're not going to get the intimacy, because Black men may not be able to offer it to them because they are emotionally unavailable, then they're going to turn it around and say, all right, well, I'll deal with the highest bidder.
But
Well, I
it-
think
but
that's what's been happening.
but isn't it like, I mean, like how that go? Fair exchange is no robbery. So how isn't that?
Is it fair?
I mean, if two consenting adults agree on what we're doing, why isn't that fair?
Well, I would say, in my opinion, that you have to look at what both people really want. If it's just a matter of just sex, then that's, which is how it's been recently, that
Absolutely.
people are, and I don't think either men or women really want that. I think overall we actually do want relationships, but I think that we are having a problem putting in the work that it takes to have one. So it's, if a woman, if her real objective is to be married and to be loved and to be cared for, and she settles for just a piece of a man to, so that she's not absent of one, then what is really happening is that she's settling in some type of way, and she's conforming just to get some form of intimacy or love or feel something. And so then that is not a fair exchange, because he may just want sex, but in reality, she wants something more deeper. So I guess it just depends.
And I also think that there's a differential of power in the conversation and who's having it. because when it comes to the man and the woman, are they equally yoked? And if not, that conversation is going to be totally different between those people versus those who are equally yoked, who are on the same playing field, who are have similar qualities. And many times our relationships do not. You know, why? Because there's a certain type. There's a certain type of partner that we're looking for. And when we don't get that, we may settle for something less just to feel adequate and at a cost. Because when you have that difference in personality, that difference in financial, that difference in characteristics, then this thing is going to be lopsided. And at that point, I think it's a different conversation.
I just want to say this, like I mean, I know in my life now that I'm older and wiser, it's not really for me it's not really about money when it comes to relationship. I mean, we need money to date and go out with, but again, it goes back to respecting me as a man, being nurturing. I keep saying the same thing, but it really comes down to that, because there's so many, you see so much on TV and TikTok, and how women just talk these men crazy, don't want to go to certain restaurants and don't want to do this, got to have a certain ring on their finger. Come on, man. Really? You worried about what's going on in somebody else's house? You need to worry about what's going on at your house. We need to stop doing that. Or comparing that, man, well, so-and-so man did this for her, or this man did so much. Stop doing that.
But as Black people,
that hurts a man's ego when you try to compare them to somebody else. And that's where you got to stop doing that, ladies.
But in our culture, why is it so hard for us to couple? It's so difficult for us to couple with someone who is equally yoked. I like what you said. You preface it by saying, now that I'm older. And so if you make the comparison of the behavior when you were younger, it sounds like I didn't grow into this. And so what we know about females and males, way back when, they talked about how women mature quicker than men. And so we still have the men trying to catch up to women. And depending on the type of woman that you like, or the type of man that you like, and I'm using the term equally yoked just to use a phrase that comes out of our culture when it comes to the equality of two individuals. Because at times, what we find is that it's not until we get older that we come into some insight and understanding of what it means to have relationships, what it means to have intimacy. But what happened years prior historically? And so now if we look at it, I don't know about the two of you, but I'm single. And if this thing was easy,
I'm single.
And I'm
single
sidebar,
too.
I'm looking to fall in love. I'm telling you right now. And that's it. That's all.
Right.
I have 20 years. I'm giving myself 20 years to live. That'll get me to 77. And hopefully I grow older. But I want to grow older with somebody.
Absolutely.
And so if this conversation can be had and it can bring us closer, where we have more tolerance for one another, that we can make some appropriate compromises, I think we will have solid Black families that can be role modeled for our younger generations. Right now, our divorce rates are still sky high. We still have a differential level of power. We still have this disconnect amongst us. We still have the infusion of other races coming in and having access to our Black men, and now even to our Black women. And so where do we come together and unify so that we can couple more? And I say that lightly because the idea is that not everybody wants to get married. Not everybody wants to be in a relationship. I have more single Black quality men around me than ever before. They once told us a myth that as you get older, as Black women get older, you date less. That's a lie. I'm having a ball, and I'm having a ball with quality men. But how do we unify? Because it doesn't make sense to have this conversation and not have something change within our culture. And, you know, the power of the pussy was only a shock factor. Because at the end of the day, it's about dating, it's about relationships. I want to include in the conversation is historical trauma, because as we have grown older, we've had the opportunity to change how we think and how we feel about relationships. But the residual trauma from
Well,
all those
somebody's
years,
calling in. We got a caller.
Hold on.
please,
Sorry about that, April.
that's okay.
Juicy Talk, how can I help you? What's good? You're live on Juicy Talk.
What's up,
What's
Omar?
up?
How are you doing, my man? All right.
Okay. So where did you have a question or a comment?
Mhm. Yes.
Do you think that's an adaptation from society of making relationships profitable and not having value in relationships, or from a place of woundedness? Where do you think that comes from? So let me ask you this question.
I'm
Is
just
it,
asking. I'm just
oh, go
curious.
ahead.
How old are you, Omar? I'm just curious. 41. Okay. Now, have you been married or divorced or? Okay. Okay. I was just curious. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So do you think that comes from, I mean, because when I hear men say that women just want to be paid or make a come up, it always makes me think about, women, the standard of women back in the day. Women back in the day, they expected when they got married to a man for him to be a provider and for him to take care. Most women didn't work. They stayed at home. They were homemakers, and the husband was the sole provider. So my thing is if now, why is it such a far fetch or such a problem for a woman to want a man to provide? Why do men see that as such an issue?
Yeah. It's what he's saying is far and few, basically. It's far and few.
I have a
Oh, so
comment.
he can hear you. Can you hear
Okay.
Miss Moore? April? Can you hear April? April?
Okay. So when I hear him talk or hear a man talks like that, one of my comments
He can't.
usually,
He can't. He can't hear you for some reason. I don't know
He can
why.
hear us. But he
So
can't.
go ahead. Ask your question.
okay.
Mm.
He can't hear you. Maybe because the way that you're in.
Yeah. I think
Okay. Can you repeat it for him? I
I
think
will.
that whenever I hear a man that makes comments like that, the only thing that comes to mind is change your type.
You hear that?
No,
He said when she hears men speak on, like you said about women only want money, she said change. Maybe you need to change the type of woman that you are around, like change your type.
So
Honestly, we living in the world of social media. That's the majority of the women nowadays. They're caught up in that same lifestyle. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's like the same necessity. So like they looking, I want this six figure man, and
right, I see that.
and their
So
word now is I want to be generous.
What was that last part? You want them to be generous?
Yeah, that's what they're asking for. They're asking for the man to be generous. Basically saying willing to just give them anything under the sun. But if you got a dude that's genuinely into you, he gonna make sure he take care of you if you really
Right.
Right. I was
right. Right. I agree.
what's his
I agree with
experience?
you too.
What's his experience? Because it sounds like he's speculating from looking at social media, and we know that social media.
So what is your experience?
Oh, okay. It's one-sided, basically. Right.
He didn't hear me when I said change his type.
What? Say that again. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah. What did you say, April?
He didn't hear me. It's a simple fix. Change your type.
He did. He heard you.
Yeah, April saying just change
Okay.
your type.
And so I'm saying that.
April said
I'm saying
change
that
your
to
type.
reinforce it. I'm saying that to reinforce it because I hear him talking about his experience with a certain type of woman, because all women are not like that.
Yeah. I did.
Wow.
Thank you, Armar, for calling in. I
Thank you so much,
appreciate
my man. Thank you. Continue to watch. Sure.
Continue to watch. So I would say what a man would say to a woman regarding that is if a woman kept picking the wrong type of guy, a man would say to a woman, why you ain't nothing wrong with him? You keep picking the same guy. It ain't him, it's you. Right? So I say the same thing for men. If every woman you come in contact with just want money, what are you doing? Maybe you have to go inside and look at self, because maybe you are coming off as superficial. A lot of men say that they want a woman who is not gonna ask for money, but the first thing they do is like, I make money, I got myself together, this is what I got. They lead with money. I'm gonna take you to, I bet you ain't never had no guy take you to a restaurant like this. They lead with money. So if you can't expect a woman not to want your money if the first thing you bring into the table that you see as your own worth is money. If you present, like if you meeting a girl for the first time and you meet her in the club, I'm just using this as an example, and you like, come sit in my section, I'm popping bottles all night, then she's going to think like, oh, you're leading with money. You're showing that that's what you about.
She believes him.
He
made her a believer. So now, as she believes him, she's going to respond accordingly. So, and I agree with you, when men project a certain way, they believe you. And so however a woman is responding to you, it's telling you, it's sending a message to you of what you projected. Women are not just going to come off like that unless they're in that environment, and that's what we're doing. But at the end of the day, you project the energy, they're going to reflect that energy, and then they're going to present a certain way. But what I'm also hearing is that it's the woman, and always, especially in our community, I'm going to stay true to Black, because that's what we want to try to heal. That's what we want to try to have some corrective action in, is our Black love. When you project it and I believe you, don't hold me, don't indict me because I believe what you done projected and how you done showed up and presented. You coming in flossing, along with what you're saying, Michelle, you coming in flossing, looking like $1,000,000, guess what I'm going to expect from you? So don't hold me hostage. Don't criminalize me because I believe you.
I mean, like, how many dates does it take for a woman to say, you know what, I'm gonna break down and treat you? I mean, is that really is that going on right now? Do women really treat men, or
I have treated men.
are women going to restaurants? You know,
Oh my God, no, you are not.
I
You know
have.
we
I'm
give.
just saying. I mean, does that
We
even exist?
I'm definitely, for me, I can, and so this is, I just want to say this real quick because I hear men speak like this a lot, and I think that we have certain things that we need to put in perspective. Like where I'm at in my dating life right now is I rather have quality over quantity. I think that a lot of times when it comes to dating, men and women, we get discouraged if we don't have a lot of options. I hear men saying like, ain't nobody gonna want you. Like you getting older now, you know what I'm saying? Your dating, your value didn't decrease. But as you get older, as you get more mature, as you prosper more, as you know who you are and you're settled and you're good in your constitution, I'm cool with having quality over quantity. I don't want 30 guys wanting to date me. I'd rather have a solid 3 or 4, rather because I'm picky about who I'm letting into my life because what I desire and what I need is a lot. It requires more. I'm different. My requirements have changed from when I was in my 20s to where I'm at now. So I think that we have to get out that mindset that we need like quantity when we really in actuality deserve and should want quality. And it becomes, that's a small circle though.
And I think we go back what April said earlier, being evenly yoked in all facets, what we want out of life. I think that's a very good point. I think that's what the breakdown is. I mean, the problem is we're not finding people on the same level, same page. This person want this, I want that. I want, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Dating is.
I will also add to
scenery.
what you do and what you are attracted to in your 20s, you shouldn't be attracted to in your 30s and moving forward to life. So by the time you are at this stage of life, what I liked in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s should not be the same. Why? Because I have evolved. And so what we find is that people are still searching for and trying to resolve some unwanted, unmet need of a type of person that they wanted back then. And so that they can feel some way about themselves. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about your partner or your prospective partner, you're really reflecting what your thoughts and your feelings and even your behaviors are at this stage of life. And I don't think we reflect on ourselves at that point. We either consider it rejection or something negative rather than taking a step back and saying, okay, what did I put out there to get that type of response from a person?
Yeah, and I like I just speak for myself. Like I know that, a lot of times you have to change your scenery as well. Like when dating, I think that, a lot of times the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Right.
And I think that we really should, if you want a different type of woman and you want a different type of guy, then I think you have to do different type of things. If you want a high quality man who's self-evolved and self-aware and has emotional intelligence, he's probably not going to be at the club at 2:00 in the morning. He's probably going to be at some conference somewhere. He might be at the golf course, or he might be at an empowerment or a men's minority health fair at community college that's coming up. Just Short plug. I will be there on Saturday from 11 to 4, and also there's one in Severance Center as well at Metro Health Hospital. I'm just saying, like, he might be in a different place. You might not find him. He might be at
Remember I told you
in a
I'm
different surrounding. So you got to just get out there and go different places.
remember I told you the next girl I find some probably at the supermarket, Whole Foods.
Or at Home Depot. It's a lot of baby.
I'm gonna find
You
a
want
Whole
that
Foods.
handyman, you better go to Home Depot.
No, I'm going to Whole Foods and run my cart into her.
You know, but I will also say this, that it's really important to even go a little deeper. Even if you're in your 20s or your 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't matter, but go a little deeper. And first of all, you got to ask yourself, what do you want? And then that's generally what you will attract. So in therapy, I will tell people, wherever you are in your head, that's what you're going to attract. So if you're in that superficial space, you're going to attract a superficial woman or man, someone who is pretending or faking or whatever, or projecting some type of falseness about themselves. So wherever you are in your head is that law of attraction. That's what you're going to attract. If you want something different of quality or not, it doesn't matter. That's what you're going to attract. The one thing that I would also say is, if you are looking to fall in love, you want to check somebody's heart condition. I want to see where your heart is and how you process life. And if I get some indication that your heart isn't where I need it to be, I'm good with that and I'm done. I can walk away. If you're dealing with somebody who has a hard heart or a black heart, or there's no penetration, there we go, right? There's no penetration to the heart, that probably is not the mate for you, because you want somebody who can feel.
Yeah.
And when we talk about historical trauma, it impacts the heart and how do they feel about relationships. And so, yes, women may weaponize their pussies, but going back to the title of this segment, but also it's about a person's heart condition. The other thing, there's two: karma. You want to check for a person's karma. I don't give a damn what they look like, what's in their pocket. You want to check their karma because it's coming back. And if you're a partner, it's going to impact you too. So as I go out here and I say I want to fall in love, I'm very conscientious of two things: that heart condition and that karma. And my pussy ain't drawing me to neither one of them if they're not right.
So if you're a woman out here and your pussy is broken, and when I mean that, because you use the analogy is your pussy ain't drawing nobody that has bad karma, or what was the other one? Or not emotionally available, right?
It's even more so than emotionally available. It's that heart. Are you open for love? Are you open for caring? Are you open for affection? A man can say that he wants that, but does his heart allow him to receive that?
And so if you're a woman out here, how do you know? How would you, like, if you are a woman, and how would you, and maybe your picker is broken. Maybe, your pussy's broken, for a lack of a better term, because you keep picking the wrong type of Negroes, okay? For a lack of better term. What can she do? What questions should she be asking herself?
Change her narrative. That's what she said, right?
I mean, like, I want to, like, a tangible way.
I mean, same thing apply for a woman just like a man, right?
Absolutely. It goes both ways.
Yeah, okay. For sure.
Okay, I'm just
it goes both ways. And so so in thinking about that, and thinking about your question about what do you look for, first of all, you got to have some discernment. You have to have the ability to read people, and that goes into emotional intelligence. You got to be able to look past the smile. You got to be able to look past the charisma. You got to be able to look past these things that will normally attract you to them, to listen to the conversation. I had someone tell me something recently, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, no, time to move on.
Hmm.
Seriously, because there's nothing, as much as I hear you talk, there's no indication that you are open for love. And that's what I'm looking for. And so it's time for me to move on.
Mhm.
So is that somebody I'm going to, excuse the expression, fuck or make love to? Absolutely not.
So
For what?
do you
For
are,
an empty
are you
That's
win?
good.
are you opening your statement to men that you're open to love? Is that how you?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I'm not, at 57, I'm unapologetic about where I am
Okay, no
right
problem.
now.
I
I
understand.
know
Maybe
me.
because
But
you're
at the
scaring.
same
Because you're
time, I'm going to
scaring men
say,
off.
excuse me?
Are you scaring men off when you be so direct?
That's a hell of a question. Absolutely not, because the man that is scared off, that ain't the man that I want.
Hmm.
Why you look at her?
Church.
Why you?
Preach,
I
sister.
don't see nobody else saying church in the comments.
Hallelujah. If y'all agree with April,
Mm-mm,
please type church.
mm-mm.
Church.
I spent my 20s being insecure. I'm not gonna come 30 years later and still be insecure. Why? Because there are men out there who actually are attracted to strength.
Right, absolutely.
That's a myth within our Black community,
Yes.
is that strong women are not attractive. I dare to challenge that, because there are Black men who are interested in a strong Black woman. You know why? Because you get to have a strong relationship,
Exactly. I agree.
and
Now,
that goes
church
to
on
that
that one.
equally yoked.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
Facts.
talking about.
And then there goes to
Those
that
are
equally
facts.
yoked.
That's what
So
I'm talking about.
any man who's afraid of strength, stay away. Spare me and you the aggravation
Okay, all right. That's
Boop.
at
enough
this
now.
point.
Look,
Okay,
look.
all right.
Boop.
All right
Okay.
now.
That part.
Boom.
And that's for
Boom.
that is for my younger Black women. Do not be afraid of your strength. They got Amanda Seales out here questioning her intellect, talking about, am I autistic? Which, I'm not going to question that. There may be some real indicators of her wanting to know that question. But I, as a therapist, and I fell
What
in
was her
love with her
question that
when
she asked?
she is saying that she is investigating whether or not she's autistic. So I've been a fan of Amanda Seales since I saw her YouTube special where she says when the dick touched the heart, and I've been a fan of hers all along. But what I do know, and what we do know, is that strong women like strong women. That doesn't mean that Black men like strong women. So we have to hold them up and protect them so that they don't reduce themselves or dumb themselves down to try to fit into a space and place of acceptance. Fuck that.
Baby. Baby.
Now you're getting me, because I feel very strongly about this
Church.
for my younger women. If I go, I've been married, I've been happily divorced, I have children, and I told God that if I go out alone, I'm fine. He can be my man. But when it comes to my younger women and passing down strength, we got to protect that. Why? Because what we do know is that Black women live longer than Black men. And so if we all dumb down, what will happen to our children? Don't do that.
I like that.
Hmm.
I like that.
That
That's
was kind of
deep.
deep. That was deep.
That is deep. I do feel like we have to do better.
And that's the power of my pussy.
Hey, say that one more time, sis.
That's the power of my pussy.
Hey,
Is that I can
All
say,
right now.
I
look.
give you permission, and I don't.
Wrong one.
Wait
No,
a minute.
that's
This is
fine.
what I wanted to share with
Okay.
you all, especially Michelle. I'm sorry. This especially to Michelle, Julius. I had an older woman. I was raising my children for alone intentionally, and Julius knows this story because he's been around that long. But it became intentional because I didn't want the wrong man to come in, and I have to program my children every time the wrong man came in. And so I had to keep my pussy operable. So I did what I did. And I had an older woman who who said to me about this one gentleman I was dealing with, he's using you. And I let her speak. And then she just talked too much. So then I had to tell her. And because she was older than me, I don't think she could conceptualize this. Did it ever occur to you that I was using him?
Ooh.
Because I needed my pussy to work when I got to this stage in life where my children are living independently in all their own addresses, and that I am no longer that mother. I am a mother who lives 2 hours away and can respond to them, and they are in a good space and place. Now I'm very single. So the power of my pussy it was very, very much intact for this time in my life. And Julius, if a Black man is intimidated by that, so be it.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, I think
take more than that though.
I think we gotta all do the work. Like, I think it's like I'm at this place in my life, and it took me a while to get here, but I was just sharing with one of my homegirls that I'm at like this place in my life. It's so refreshing, right? I'm financially stable. I definitely desire to be. I was married before. I'm divorced now. Like you said, happily divorced. We're really good friends. We're still good friends. But I'm at this place now where I'm such in a place of peace and calm within myself that I'm not willing to compromise any of my peace for anyone. That doesn't mean that I'm not emotionally available, because I am, but I'm just staying on my path, and anything that's meant for me will find me on this path. And it took me a while to get there, to have that self-awareness. And I think that a lot of times as women and as men, we're not doing the work that it takes to get to that place where you find the right person for you. I think that women, at one particular time in life, we were told, like, the worst thing you could tell a Black woman is that ain't no man gonna marry you, period. And we'd be like, that was like the ultimate, like, nobody's gonna want me. And that was like, blasphemy, right, to the Black woman. So, and then during that time, we start like going to counseling, doing the self-work, finding other things that made us happy, finding happiness in things that were not consumed or, had anything to do with a relationship, but maybe traveling, maybe picking up a hobby, or learning how to step, a ballroom dance, or whatever it may have been. We picked up these different things. And we start evolving as women. And in that process, and I don't know, you speak to this, Julius, I don't know if men were doing the same thing. And so now you have like these women that are evolved emotionally, right? And now the men that are out there to be dating, they don't actually feel like they can obtain these women. So they try to bring you down to a certain extent. Do you think, like, I've heard women say that, like, she's so, like, these women up, so now they want to bring you down to another, level, or they want you to settle in some type of way for less than you should. And that's why we get this, this red pill men telling women that they've lost their luster, for lack of a better term. Do you think that is what's happening?
I think everything is happening. If we're talking about, specific women, that is their narrative. But I think there are many narratives out here. My narrative was, and Julius, he and I have been great friends, and actually I have to give him credit. He is a part of my growth. Him being a strong Black man is a part of my growth. Him willing to be my friend and be able to speak truth. And he asks poignant questions. And so I've been very blessed to have his friendship all these years, because he actually helped shape me into this woman. And I think that that is not said enough, that men do help us to grow and evolve.
Mm.
It's just whether or not they understand the impact that they have on us. We spend so much time fighting within our community and with our culture with one another, that we don't create opportunities where we can complement the person that you are. And so, Julius, in this moment, it sounds like a very dominant conversation around women, which the power of the pussy can
It's okay.
be. But as a man, you help shape who I've become.
Mm.
And I'm unapologetic about that. Actually, it was profound. You know, in our friendship, we were equally yoked because you influenced me by your conversations, by your questioning, by your challenges, and even by your confrontation. And that for me, I'm very blessed to have had that. And there's other men. First of all, once I realized as a younger woman that strong men, because I had a strong father, that's who I wanted to be in company with. And so any man that I have in my life that I call a friend, if there was ever something to change, I could marry either one of them.
Mm.
I could have a conversation about that with either one of them.
That's
Because
good.
I wanted to surround myself by quality men who can be husband material if the stars aligned and all of that. And so, and I hopefully, you know, they saw me in the same way if that was the instance. But it is, so when we talk about the power of the pussy, Black men have had a huge influence on our power, good, bad, and indifferent. You know, the one thing we hadn't discussed or brought into the conversation is mommy and daddy issues, and I had both. And they helped shape who I've become. So you get to the point where you have to be unapologetic about your evolutional state of being, and find some acceptance of it, knowing what your limitations are along the way. There was a very much craziness in my personality in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s. Hell, in my 40s, I even became stalkish because I wanted a husband and a stepdad for my children, but I wanted the right person. And it didn't happen. And I have to tell you, if there was ever a regret, and I said I would share this because I hope women can understand, if there was ever a regret, is that I did not couple or partner or marry when my children were young, so that I can model for them what it means, what Black love means, and especially for my daughter. Especially for my daughter. And I have to tell you, and now this might be a turnoff, but trust me, it's not. My daughter at 22 is more woman than I was at 22. She is managing her romantic relationship as early as it is in a very mature way. And so maybe there was some things that she saw that she wanted to do differently, because I'm thoroughly impressed of my daughter and who she is as a young woman.
That's
And so even to this day, my goal is to marry a man that don't necessarily have to parent my children, but be a role model as a Black man in my children's lives, and a man who shows them how much I am loved. And I used to tell my kids, Mom don't have a man around, but trust me, she likes him and they like her. But that doesn't mean that she can't get one. Is that she's looking for the right one.
That's
and
good.
nothing less. And even to this day, looking at the right one. Does that mean everybody is for me? Absolutely not. And I'm not for everybody. And so I accept that part of it. Being able to accept that as a woman and be able to have that as a self-permission. I enjoy relationship with men, platonic relationships, distant relationships. Black men are everything.
Absolutely.
To me.
And go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Let me just ask you though, what kind of advice would you give some men right now in their like 30s and between 35 and 40, what kind
Mhm.
of advice would you give them right now?
Amazing question. Heal your energy. Heal your energy. You know, again, I'm pro marriage. I think it's the most honorable institution that we have on this earth. I do believe that it's something that's ordained by God. And so, in order to do that, you have to have healed energy, because living this life and born into dysfunction and craziness.
Yes.
And if you were not, if you were blessed to have a beautiful childhood, you know, as you became adult, you may created some chaos around you. But I think that we all need to heal our energies
Mhm.
and then be able to look at one another with some dignity and self-respect.
Mm.
Identify that there are issues with our parents. There has been that, and those issues has shaped who we are as people.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so I can even think about, you know, over the years of how we talked about how mothers mother their boys and groom their girls.
Mm,
And so if we go back to that point and we look at, if men look at themselves, Julius, and say, how did my mother mother me?
mm,
And is
Mm.
that a reflection of the man that I am and the type of woman that I want?
Whoa, that's deep.
So going back to self,
Mm-hmm.
instead of projecting out and looking out into the world and say, come fix me, in so many words,
Ooh.
come and compliment this mess that I am.
Mm.
How about you looking at yourself and
Mm.
identifying what your issues are? God bless the dead. What was that guy's name? Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. When I was first introduced to this man, and I only heard him once, I said, mommy issues. And then his following, all of those thousands of men, Black men specifically, who followed that young man, mommy issues, he spoke to their pain. He didn't speak to their strength or their health. He spoke to their pain.
mm.
There was a lot of dialogue around pain, and it comes down to the relationship between Black men and Black women.
Mm.
And those are mommy issues, and could even be daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
deep.
came out. That came when he stepped off the porch. He started thinking about that and how it played out in his own life. And like I said, God bless the dead. And not talking about him, I'm talking about the notoriety that he had, which was, it was pain. Black men who followed that young man had emotional pain that was unhealed,
Mm-hmm.
That's
and it
good.
was projected on Black women, and that's not fair.
Mm, that's good. I mean, wow, that's deep.
Wow.
Because so do you feel like if a Black man has mommy issues that are unresolved, that he can't really foster a positive relationship?
I wouldn't go that far of grading it positive or negative. I think just the outcome. And here's what I would say. Please be careful what you attract. Please be careful what you attract, not for your sake, but for theirs.
Mm.
When I talk about those years of parenting my single parenting my children, to some degree, there were times where I didn't want to be in a relationship because I did not think that a Black man, because that's what I'm attracted to, was deserving of the chaos he would have walked into.
Mm,
Wow.
Okay.
Mm.
And there was moments where there was some healing, but I always knew that this was only a pit stop, that as I moved forward, things were going to change.
Mhm.
So at that point, I had confidence in me pursuing someone or someone pursuing me. But at the end of the day, I knew that I was in no condition to have a man in my life. And I would not do that to a Black man for him to walk into chaos when he didn't have to.
Mm.
So Derek Smith, I guess, and Derek, just if you know, in the comments, you know, please speak on what you mean by this. He said calling women out is pain and money and mommy issues, shaking my head. So I think he's referring to the statement that you made about Kevin Samuels calling women out. But one of the things that I think is a misconception is that Kevin Samuels had a lot of women followers as well, but he called out men too.
Oh, absolutely.
He definitely talked about how men lying to women, not being open and honest about misleading them, making them think that they wanted more than, that they, just lying about what they really wanted. He called them out about that too. But I mean, he went real hard on women, but I want you to, either call in, Derek, or explain what you mean by that when you say calling women out is pain and mommy issues. Um, I just want to. I'm just curious on what you mean by that.
April, we talked.
Can I just comment on that real quick?
Oh.
I respect his comment. I respect that, and it is just one theory, one school of thought. That is not, and it's just coming from me. That's not a reflection of Michelle's, not a reflection of Julia's or her program. It was my assessment based on what I heard. And I've never listened to a whole lot of Kevin Samuels because it hurt my heart.
Yeah.
And so to know that some of that was projected at men, most of what I heard and the feedback that I got from men, it was more or less him going hard on Black women and projecting them in a certain way. And so, yes, I do feel that, like I said, you know thyself. You know what was in your home, and you know what was happening with your parents, the people who brought you into this world. And so having the opportunity to even calling that out, not them out, but that out, and knowing that that has influenced how you think and see women or men is really important, because that's the lens that you have. Do you have the opportunity to put on a different set of glasses as you moved and evolved through life? Of course you do. But we can't project what our issues are on someone else. Let's start with self, going back to Joyce's question of giving advice to men and women. There's a lot of what's going on with us because we birth sons and men in the world, and we grow, and many times we're the ones who's raising them.
Yeah,
and so that's what are you gonna say?
I know we talked previously before the show, bring you on the show. We had talked about how at the beginning of time where families were separated back to slavery, we're going back as far as slavery. And now it's been now a lot of men are incarcerated for small petty crimes. And that's why we have so many issues in these broken homes where these boys are brought up by women that technically, I don't say cannot bring them up, but there's certain roles boys need to see. I know as when I grew up, I had a mother and father in my home, and remember watching my father put a tie on, and remember sitting, talking about my day, sitting at the table. We kind of got away from that, and I don't know if we ever can get back to that, where we can have everybody sit at the table and talk about each other's day. And how does this make you feel when you went to school? How did that make you feel today, Julius, when somebody said something to you? I don't think boys have that outlet like I used to have when I was a kid. So I think it's very detrimental to our race and some of our Black men.
Yeah.
When there's a missing link, the chain is broken. So when there's not two parents, and my three children, only one of my three children have both parents in the home. And so when there's a missing link, you can expect for the chain to be broken somewhere. Somewhere. Does that mean everywhere? No, I'm not. I'm just speculating. But the research will support some of what I'm saying, is that, of course, when you have two parents in a home and that home is intact, you have a greater chance. It doesn't mean that it has to happen always, but you have a greater chance of the child to walk out whole.
About to end it. Yeah. So is there, I just, I wanted to know if there's any we're getting late. We've been on here for a minute. Is there anything that is right there, Julius? I think on the other side. Is there anything else that you would want to, like, anything
Strongly
that you would want
encourage.
a takeaway?
Yeah,
This right
takeaway.
here.
You know what? We have an opportunity to change the trajectory of our lives and the lives of our children and the lives of young people by showing them what it means to love one another. And at the end of the day, from my perspective and my experience, and from what I believe God says, is that love is the greatest gift that He has given us. And so if we can operate in love, I think even with our differences, we can find a partner, if that's what you choose, that you can find a partner who can fulfill you, that you can find someone who can help you to become whole. Only you can make yourself become whole, but you make the decision to bring somebody else who feeds into that. So if the biggest takeaway is simply this, we go back to the power of the pussy, and that was just a, a talking point. At the end of the day, it really is about self-love.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think that is very important for women and men to have friendships that are really platonic, male and female relationships. Because I know you mentioned Hardy being a good friend. He's my good friend as well. We
I
like
appreciate
we
that.
like Pam and
Martin,
Martin,
right.
Pam and Martin, Pam and Martin over here. But I do think it's very important for women to have solid male friendships and because they teach you something about relationships. And that's like, so a lot of times it is certain things. I always say that I was raised in a 2-parent household with both my mom and my dad. And one of the things that I always talk about that I really learned from my father is how not to push a man too far. Like I watched my mom and my dad interact with each other, and like when a man, when he would be frustrated or just I think that it's even subtle that you don't even realize, but your interaction with your father teaches you how to respect men and how to respect the boundaries of men, because men do have certain boundaries that are necessary, and I think a lot of times, so I think that even if you don't have that, like a 2-parent household, and that wasn't your, having friendships with males that you trust, that you can receive from, helps you be a better woman and also helps you understand males more, Would you agree?
I definitely would agree. I think I talk about that a lot in terms of women specifically knowing how to have men as friends and having a circle of them. I have one friend, she became she had a medical crisis and she had men rallying around her son. And her comment was, "What about me?" And I said, "They're rallying around your son because of you. That's
Yeah.
that is an extension of you."
Mm-hmm.
And so they are rallying around the most important person. And I understood what she meant, that need to be loved and in due time, in due time. But right now, while you are in need of support, they are loving on your son because they love you and they care about you. And so having the opportunity to reframe some of our circumstances, at the end of the day, it really is about a type. If you have the opportunity, try to date the opposite of what you usually date and see what you come up with.
Mm.
That's good. And it's very true.
Yeah,
It's very true, because I think that when when I got married, I mentally said, I was like, I'm going to date somebody completely different than anybody else I've ever dated in my life. We end up getting married. So I'm just saying, it happens, and it's very, very true. Thank you so much
Yeah, very good. Very
for
good.
coming on.
Yeah.
Like, we appreciate you for coming on. It was so
You
much
for
great
sharing.
information.
And thanks for being so transparent as well.
Oh yeah, we
Very, I
thank you.
appreciate that transparency.
We thank you for that. This was a great show.
Yeah, it's getting
Well,
better
I
and better.
appreciate you all for having this platform, and I will make in any way that I could support you. And of course, I'm just one person with one theory, with one perspective. I wear a certain lens as well. And so my truth may not be your truth, but search for your truth, and that will set you free. So I speak my truth to be free. I speak my truth to share and show what it means to be transparent. I'm not afraid of myself.
Oh,
And so in this moment, I thank you for allowing me the platform to voice that, because it's been very cathartic.
wow.
I
That
love
part.
that. I love.
And as a therapist, I will be the first to tell you that I am my first client and I'm still in therapy.
Oh,
And so I'm always working on myself. And the things that I suggest are the things that I actually apply to myself. And so, it is not just about being someone who can tell you what to do as a therapist. If I don't do it myself, I got to walk that walk and talk that talk. And
Yeah.
so hopefully moving forward, there's just greater conversations about each other and us in our community so that we can find our ways back to one another.
I know. That's my true desire. And I know we talked earlier in the week, and I talked about how our whole reason for doing this is because we want our community to heal. One of the things that you said that was really profound is we need to stop looking at relationships as right and wrong and look at
Mhm.
healthy and unhealthy. And I just
Yes.
found that to be so profound, because when we take it out of the narrative of blame, like
Mhm.
men wrong, women wrong, and we just look at what's healthy and what's not healthy, then we're all responsible and we're all taking accountability, right? And I
Absolutely.
just like that ideology. I think it's really, I just want us, my whole point of doing this podcast is for us to have these crucial conversations and have these difficult conversations so we can get back to loving.
yeah, that's what it
That's
is.
it.
That part.
Let's just get back to
That
loving.
part.
Yeah.
I
Me as a black woman, I love, ain't nothing better than a black man.
Holy,
Me,
look,
ain't nothing better.
look. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to be on my way to Cleveland to watch the game, and I go to a couple of places. I'm going to plug them. I go to Happy's Club, and I also go to the Auto Mile. You know why? Because it's full of black men, strong black men.
Yeah.
And I don't know many of them, but their image says a lot about who they are. I don't give a damn about their background. I don't care about what they went through. I see them now for who they are. And to be Cleveland right now is everything, because I walk in there, I'm like, look at these black men. I hear them talk, I hear them laugh, I hear health. That's the thing. I hear healthy black men. Are they perfect? Probably not. Are they still rotten to the core in some areas of life? Probably so. But as a collective, it's a beautiful place to see black men moving about. I know they love their children, and that's something that is really important as well. Are they perfect fathers? Absolutely not. Are they perfect sons? Probably not. But what I will tell you is that right now in this society, I love what I see, and I do look at it from a clinical sense along with a personal sense. And so, with that said, if I could go ahead and plug my events.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Go
That was
ahead.
the next thing. Please talk about your event. So I just want to
Yeah.
say, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead. Go ahead. 'Cause I'm
So
so
I
excited.
have, yes. So I wanted to figure out, how do I use this gift that God has given me as far as therapy is concerned. And like I said, I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me. But he has given me a gift to help people change their perspectives, not only about life, but themselves personally. And that's how we begin to heal, is that you take an opportunity to look at yourself. And so I have book clubs. I'm using literature, for instance. That's talking points, just like the book Power of the Pussy. I have the other shock factor is Hoe Tactics. But I also am doing book clubs on Black Pain by Terry Williams. I'm doing a book club on The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. DeClercq, who talks about the trauma. And I want to be able to have conversation about PTSD and inform about post-traumatic stress syndrome that we as Black people encounter, vicarious trauma, if not direct trauma, but talk about that and educate on that and have real conversations around it. But I also wanted to revisit Steve Harvey's book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. Why? I want to know, what did it do? Did it separate us or did it bring us closer together? And have a conversation around that. I want to bring Black men out and talk with Black women. I want us to be able to have the opportunity to develop these unlikely relationships and friendships, to be able to be authentic, be able to have authentic dialogue, speak what's on your mind that's been trapped in your head, but come out with it, free yourself. It's so freeing to be authentically spoken and not be ashamed or embarrassed or have some guilt about who I am.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage that in a very respectful way. You talked about criticism. If we can take the criticism and the judgment out, not bad, not good, but healthy and unhealthy. Is that relationship healthy for you rather than is that relationship bad for you? And so these book clubs are being held in Akron and Cleveland. And Akron is at Sweet Beats in Chapel Hill. I talked with the owner and their booking agent, CC. Thank you, CC. And we're arranging for that book club to start on June 13th on a Thursday. And then we get to move from there and enjoy the atmosphere. And then right now, the book club in Cleveland for June 15th on a Saturday is at Haps Club in the old Epic Lounge. And Michelle said she was going to come to both.
I am
Her birthday is on the 15th.
I can't even contain it.
To entice you to come, I'm going to have a birthday gift for you. So you got to be there to get it or your ass won't get it. Okay.
Listen, I'm coming to both. So I'll be there at the one on the 13th in Akron, and I'm definitely coming to the one on my actual birthday, June 15th. So if you're listening and you want to just hang out, you want to come talk about, because this is the thing, I wanted to do something different and something more evolved. And this is perfect. I'm an avid reader. I love to read books. Everybody knows I love to read books. And I'm just so excited. So I told my whole friend group, well, I haven't actually announced it to them yet, but now we just did. But I just told my whole friend group that for my birthday, we will be celebrating at your book club event at Happy's Place, June 15th. And I'm so excited about it because Hoe Tactics and Power of the Pussy.
Yes. And here's the deal.
Important. And I want us to read it. And I want us, I'm going to be promoting this event. I'm definitely going to be promoting reading these books because I think that it'll be very good for us as people, and not just women, but men too.
Absolutely. We can't do this without you.
Yeah. We all in this together.
We've been divided since the turn of time, right? Slavery, right? We've been divided. We conquer and we conquer the world by coming together and unifying.
Absolutely.
So we can't do this without you. We've done enough without you. So I'm saying, please come and show up.
Come on, show up, show out.
There's going to be food. We're going to have spirits. All I ask is that you read some excerpts of the book when you come and contribute, because yes, we all have experiences with all of these topics and themes, but what is most important is using the information, and let's have some talking points. The other book that I did not mention is by Asia Wilson, who is the WNBA player. She wrote a book, Dear Black Girls. And so please read some excerpts of these books, or listen to them on Audible, which
They're
is
all
even more
Audible
fun.
as well.
Yes.
And I'm
yes.
going to post the books on my Facebook page. So look for it.
And I'll share it on my page too.
And yep. And Hardy's going to show
I'll
it on
send you
his
the
page
list.
as well. And we're like super excited. It's June 15th
June
in
15th.
Cleveland
Come
and
on,
Happy Place,
Michelle.
and June 13th in Akron at Chapel.
At Sweet Beats
Sweet
and Chapel Hill.
Okay.
In Chapel Hill.
So
and
we're
I
going to
have
get
to
that
tell you,
information out to my followers. We're going to have that on our page. We're going to post the flyers for you. And again, we thank you so very much. This was an amazing conversation. If you enjoyed the conversation, please give me some thumbs up or some Y's in the comment. Let us know that you liked it. Also, I want to talk about, we got, business. Hardy, talk about your event that you got coming up.
You know what? It's pretty much almost sold out. Actually,
What?
pretty much.
I didn't get a ticket check.
I know. I got you. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, because tomorrow I'm going to look at everything and the way things. Last night about 10:30.
Yay!
About 16 tickets.
Go ahead on, black man. That's what I'm talking about.
16 tickets.
It's gonna be so much fun, y'all. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too.
I'm so excited. I'm bringing my mom with me, so this is like my mom's Mother's Day gift. I'm bringing her with me. We're gonna hang out and enjoy ourselves there, and I'm so super excited about that. But yes, like.
Yeah, it's gonna be really
awesome.
Nice.
It's gonna be a time, y'all, and I'm so excited about it. So I guess I need to take it on. Huh? All the tickets gone.
I know, right?
Well, if you got your tickets,
I just want to say, Julius, I love you to death. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you
so much.
Me being able to call you a friend.
It's been amazing, hour and 15 minutes. It's
been cool.
It's been really nice.
Now we've been on here for about 2 hours almost.
Right.
It's been
and Michelle, great. You are my new Gemini. Let me tell you something. I love Geminis. What did I tell you about Geminis and Aries?
Hey,
we love you because nobody else.
What you say?
I said Geminis love Aries when nobody else does.
Oh,
that's why we love you. So my heart goes out to you. I can't wait to meet you in person, to embrace you and I'm very proud of you, young Black woman.
Thank you.
You're paving a way, right?
Thank you.
And so you're taking the opportunity to do what the world does. I always say the universe is going to do what the universe does. And I love that you're in it.
Thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate that. I know, like, it's, this is my baby for real. We talked about it before, and I told you how this is like my baby. Anybody that knows me knows that I talk all the time, right? I'm always talking. I always got something to say or singing. I didn't sing tonight.
I know, right?
Usually I always got to sing. He'll say something that'll trigger. Look, usually he'll say something that he'll trigger me, right? So anybody that know me knows I'm always talking, right? So, but this is so much my baby and so much, so important to me. And like you said, it's like a healing journey for me as well. Just to be able to share with others the lessons that I've learned in life, to learn from other people and have a platform where people that follow me, because what's the point of social media if you're not helping somebody else, if we're not reaching back, if we're not talking to our community, having these very crucial conversations that are necessary? What's the point and the purpose? We have them and we have them outside, but this is what life is about, right? Sharing information and growing as a people and growing together and doing better together. So it's something I'm passionate about. I would do this. I was doing this before I had a podcast. This is just who I am as a person. So it's just an extension of who I am. And Aries, Aries and Geminis, it's, the thing about a Gemini, people get a bad rap. I say that? Gemini's
My
get
mama,
bad
my
rap.
mama is Gemini.
Your mom, because I know she's perfect, right?
That-
Why you like you are. It don't, listen, it all makes sense why you are like you are. Because you was
she
raised
fed
by
into him.
a
She fed into
Gemini woman.
him. She fed into him. And I will say, Geminis for me are the most wisest people. And real quick story, my last kid is a Gemini, and I said, God, if I'm pregnant, because I didn't know if I was, it had to be a girl and it had to be a Gemini. Anything else, keep it.
Wow.
And it
I
was,
wanna
and
say
she's
this too.
everything.
I want to say this too. I just thank you allowing me to be part of your broadcast. I truly, I know this is a big thing for you, and I just appreciate you so much allowing me to be a part of this. I really do. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Listen, this was needed. It's so crazy because Hardy is such a good person.
Good
Like
dude.
literally a
Yes, he
really
is.
good person.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you. Like I always say, Hardy came in my life and at a time that I really needed a strong male friend. And he's been that
Yes.
for me. And then when he commits himself to something, he show up and he be right there with you. And for that, forever.
No doubt.
Forever.
No doubt.
You know what I'm
Excellent.
saying?
No doubt.
So I'm just appreciative. This was really, really great. And we got to do it again. You know, you got to come back on again. We got to keep doing
Certainly.
it. We got to do it.
Certainly.
And
It was amazing.
And free of charge because it was too much fun.
Oh
And
my
the
God.
cause is too big. The cause is too big. So you have me whenever you want me.
oh, thank you.
so much.
Thank you for your expertise.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with us. And we truly appreciate you. Thank you for everybody who stuck in with us.
Yes.
How did y'all like this time? If you like this time, 9 p.m., because we did a different time than we typically do. If you like this time, give me a why, a thumbs up, or something. Let me know in the comments that you like this time if you liked it, because we're thinking about moving it to 9 p.m. on a regular. So if you like this time frame, if this works for you, let us know if you like it. Definitely excited about everything we got going on. Again, if you are in Cleveland and you have time this weekend, we are having a men's minority health fair at Tri-C at the Cuyahoga County Community College. I will be there. I think Eric Dyson will be there. He'll be one of the speakers and presenters. We also will be at Severance Center. The Men's Minority Health Fair will be there as well. Please come through. It'll be a lot of great information, a lot of things about men and their mental health, men and their health. You know, it'll be a lot of different providers and a lot of different opportunities and a lot of, good information and goodies, because we come with treats. We come with all like little takeaways and things that you can take with you. So come out, come support. I think they'll have food there. It's going to be a nice event. So definitely come out. Yes. So they like the 9 p.m. slot. Yes, yes, yes. So we're really thinking about moving it. So thank you so very much for coming on. Thank you for everybody for coming on and tuning in and sticking with us this long. And we out.
Good night.
Good night.
Out.